I do believe that everybody has a unique story to tell, and everybody's story and life journey is unique to them, with special twists, turns, learnings, feedback, and amazing growth for all of us, right? And so I hope that they will get that courage to look back into their lives and say, okay, what are my values? What is the story of my life that I can share and tell, and then tell it? So that is by far my number one hope.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Inspiration Hub channel, where we feature interesting authors and books for you to follow. If you like this kind of stuff, do remember to click on the subscribe buttons. And now, let's move on with the show today. Today we have a very special guest with us, Andreas M. Vogiatzakis. Is that correct?
Right. It's very correct.
Okay, who is the author of Courage at the Crossroads. So it's basically a book, a memoir, a biography about his life. So today we are very privileged to have him with us today. Would you be able to share with us currently what you are working on?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on the show. And let me also say that I am eternally grateful to Inspiration Hub for an amazing partnership to really take this baby off the womb and onto the world. It took us a while, but it did happen through the thick and thin and all the obstacles. So Inspiration Hub has been absolutely amazing in that journey. So thank you very much for the partnership and the friendship. Currently, I'm working on my normal business. I'm not really an author as a business. This was a sideline, so my main focus is on training and coaching. I'm a certified coach. I have my own company, AMV Plus, through which I do extensive training, focusing on leadership, focusing on communications, managing change, as well as building coherent and cohesive teams. So that's my main line of business. The book was sort of a sideline that has been in my mind for a long time, and it happened.
Yeah, wow, interesting. So you have a coaching business.
That's right. A certified coach, NLP, certified practitioner. I'm doing my master's at the moment on NLP. So it's that kind of giving back and adding value is quite close to my heart.
Yeah. And I'm sure if your not pool of knowledge and wisdom with all the working years, I'm sure you got a lot of things to share.
Just like everybody else, I just took that leap of faith to put it in a book, which I'm sure everybody has tons of stories, valuable stories and lessons to share, just like I did.
Interesting. So you have just recently launched your book. Would you be able to share a little about what your book is all about?
Gladly. It was sort of an unplanned kind of thing to write and launch this book, just like my entire life has been unplanned and a little bit coincidental. I just took the curves and the road as it unfolded. So it was the book. I've been always pushing my friends to publish their books with things that I believed always are valuable to share, leave a legacy, share the knowledge, enrich the world. And so when I was starting my own company last year in the middle of the pandemic, the worst pandemic I might add in our recent history, I thought that maybe this is the time to also walk the talk and do what I'm pushing and preaching others to do. And because I'm dealing with leadership, with galvanizing coherent and cohesive teams that work together, and I'm always doing training that revolve around values, self-awareness, the power skills as I call them, I thought when I look back in my own life, a lot of these values and things really helped me to arrive to where I am today and still working on it. So I thought it would be good to put them all in that book and talk about leadership, talk about values that guide us through the crossroads when we have to take difficult decisions in our lives. and just share that. And throughout also my training, that would become a great point of reference to enrich the companies that I'm working on with. And so far it has worked quite well.
And what inspires you to write and publish this book? Is there like something that triggers you?
It is to be found in the first chapter, but here's the funny part, right? I wanted to do it and give back. I wanted to do it and leave something behind. I wanted to do it a little bit for the legacy, a little bit for the sharing part. But I realized as I was writing the book that the truth lies in the first chapter, and then the self-reflection on the very last chapter. And it was all about understanding me. And it became a journey where it gave me a lot of self-awareness. Sometimes we think about things, and all these thoughts are revolving around our head, and they are there in some way, shape, or form. And the moment we really sit down to write it, to articulate it, to talk about it, to put it on paper, things become a little bit different, and we come more in contact with our inner world. And that comes out in a completely different way than how it is when it's just swirling there in our head. And I found that invaluable.
Would you like to share with us one or two highlight stories from your book?
Gosh, sure, there are tons of them, filled to the brim. In fact, I say in the way I describe the book, this is a book about leadership that teaches leadership in ways that textbooks don't, right? And it's true. And there are many stories. Funny enough, as I was writing it, towards the end of it, I thought, looking back, my goodness, the hero of this book is my mom, because I always used to remember the things that she would calmly say and guiding me without me even knowing, right? A lot of sweet memories and stories that shaped my personality lie in the first chapter. To start with, how I was born. I was born to replace a brother that I've never met, a brother who died about 6-7 years before I was born. And of course, I was made for a purpose. And while I was growing up, I felt that unconsciously when everyone would say what a great kid he was, what a great student, a great son. So I grew up in that village culture, having to live up to that. And of course, because I was made for that purpose, to replace the first son of the family, I have 2 more sisters that were born after him, I was not raised privileged. I didn't have toys. I didn't have brand new clothes every month. I would get 1 pair of shoes every year, and you have to, like that, the rest of the kids. We were an okay family, not rich, farmers. And all these stories, when I look back on how I grew up in the vineyards and the olive groves, and let me tell you, it was not fun. The vineyards are nice because it's summertime, but the olive groves can be very muddy and wet and cold because it's in the wintertime. Are very sweet memories, but also memories that galvanized my notion of the world, fairness, not fairness, values, leadership, how my mom handled the whole situation. My dad died when I was 12, and that changed a lot of things. And you can see a lot of stories there. Or another very fond memory is when I was coming back from school during late September, and that's the time that we make the wine, right? And I would dash in the back of the house where we had the wine making room to just see my dad and the workers that were making the wine and the distillation process. And it was just closing your eyes and reincarnating all these memories and what that meant to you, how all these things really made you the person that you are. And sprinkled throughout the book, I have these sections, one in each chapter, that it's Mom said. And it's a saying that Mom would say to me, and it would be either her saying or a colloquial saying that everybody would use, but the way, the circumstances that surrounded that made it very special. and had a profound impact on my value system, my own style of leadership, if you will. Not what I learned in school, but what I learned from, living up in a village.
You were originally from Greece, and then halfway through the journey of your life, you accepted a job offer to come over to Malaysia to lead big companies like Star Group. And so before you take that step of courage, what were your thoughts process?
It was the reason also I launched the book on the 16th of July is that's my birthday, and this was the 55th year of an unplanned life, so to speak. I was in love with math. I abandoned that when I went to the math university only to pursue the true love of my life, and that was advertising. I went to the States to do that. I had no idea that I would. My sister always wanted me to go, and I never wanted to. And then by complete call of destiny, back in 1997, the company I used to start my career to in New York asked me to go to Japan, out of all places, to establish their media company. And that happened in 1997. In January of 1997, if anybody would tell me by the end of this year you will be in Japan eating raw fish,
sashimi,
and you will love it, I would think they would be completely crazy. And here I was. September 4th, 1997, I landed in Narita and life changed forever. That was a pivotal decision for me. The story is in the book. And then life brought me to Taiwan. Life brought me to Malaysia for the last 16 years. And of course, that was, once I came to Malaysia, it was a personal choice to remain in Malaysia and make this my home base because it feels good from every aspect. So it was unplanned completely, and I would say blessed with a lot of goodness and a lot of growth when I look back.
Yeah, you've been in Malaysia for many years. Maybe just a random fact. What's the thing that you like about Malaysians?
Goodness. I hope we have about 3-4 hours for this interview because the list is long. First of all, the reason that I consciously and by choice made Malaysia my home was the Malaysian DNA that resides in people. So the real thing is people. You can find nice beaches everywhere, even though I love Malaysian beaches and food, but it is the people who really make the difference. And it's that acceptance, that the way they embrace me, the way they were non-judgmental, and the way they see that diversity in the Malaysian fabric. So fundamentally, that's the key reasons, and the key reason. And then you put a lot of sprinkles on it. You make the most beautiful rojak salad, so to speak, and you add food. You add durian. You add incredible sights and sounds, culture, diversity, and it just makes the whole package hard to resist. And for me, this is home. I love it, and it's beautiful.
If we were to ask, what is your favorite Malaysian dish?
I fell in love on instant bite with curry laksa when I came here.
Curry laksa.
And of course, I instantly fell in love with durian. So I would say without hesitation that curry laksa and durian are equally on top of my list. I think one without the other would be difficult to separate. Yeah.
That's interesting. We don't find many Westerners who love durian.
And some Malaysian friends, so I challenge them, but yes.
All right. Okay, so let's get back to your book. What do you hope that the readers will get after reading your book, or what do you hope that you can inspire in them?
That's a beautiful question, and thank you for asking me that. A few things. The first one, I do believe that everybody has a unique story to tell, and everybody's story and life journey is unique to them, with special twists, turns, learnings, feedback, and amazing growth for all of us, right? And so I hope that they will get that courage to look back into their lives and say, okay, what are my values? what is the story of my life that I can share and tell, and then tell it. So that is by far my number one hope. And I say this because I'm actually a shy person and an introvert.
You don't sound like introvert.
I know, and many people say, when I say that, they say, well, this is hard to believe, and you were in advertising and communications. I love my me time. However, if you really want to make a difference, if you want to connect, build rapport, communicate, there is no other way. And so you learn how to do that, and to do that more and more effectively as you become better. And I think that applies to everybody. And that would make our world a better place to be. That is one. Second one is for them to read the book, see what that village boy that was born for a purpose went through, unplanned, uncharted, and arrived to where he is today. And why is that special from a sense of courage when you have to take decisions, when you have to quit something that you thought you're made for, but then you realize you're not, and your family would not accept it, but you quit that and you do something that you truly love. And all these values, how would that trigger the thinking of the one who reads the book to say, what are my values? What are these things that guide me when I come to the crossroads? And all of us come to the crossroads sooner or later, more than once in our lives, right? You have to take decisions. So what are these values that will guide you? What is your purpose? What are you here for? That purpose might change depending on how your life evolves and how you mature and your self-awareness becomes bigger and better. But at the moment, what are these values? What type of a leader are you? What is the difference that you're going to make in others? And hopefully they will get that courage to talk about their life story and to think about their values and principles that will guide them through the crossroads. And by doing that, they will be able to become better leaders for the other people.
Okay. And so what future projects do you have on your plates? And is there any way people could follow your updates on social media?
Oh, goodness, yes. It's funny enough, but like my dad used to say, this ancient proverb, Aristotle claims it, Plato claims it, but they say that η αρχή είναι το ήμιση του παντός, which really means that the first step is half of the journey, and it's true. So I took the first step with this first book, so I'm already planning two.
All right.
Because a lot of things now come to my head, and I'm thinking, my goodness, I think Mom deserves her own book and her wisdom, which I believe is invaluable. And then perhaps something that will have to do with the behind the scenes of the stories in this first book. Apart from that, which I think is going to take for a little bit, my immediate projects are a few. Number one, my own company, AMV Plus, on the training and coaching that I do. So that is getting developed very nicely. And in conjunction with the book, it's working hand in hand in excellent synergy. And on the backbone of AMV Plus, to make sure that the book gets its own journey and is successful. And the third piece is to promote awareness for mental health. And in fact, I'm doing a lot of projects using the book as a platform to really help raise the awareness for mental health. I've seen throughout this pandemic, including myself, people on their knees, in many cases broken, definitely challenged by the pandemic, by everything that happens around them. I was there last year thinking what to do while writing this book. I caught myself many times wanting to stopping it because I believed that there is no purpose for it. It's not going to do any good. And I had to self-motivate myself, talk to friends. And throughout that journey, I've seen a lot of people struggling. And there is a stigma to that. If I tell you and talk to you about mental health, society doesn't fully accept that. Society accepts that I get the flu and I'll stay home for a day to recover, but we will not really accept if I tell you I'm really feeling depressed today and I don't want to do anything, so I want to work on it and feel better. They will probably look at you like, what's wrong with him? And I want to raise that awareness, and there are certain organizations who are pushing towards that, and hopefully this little baby over here will be a catalyst to work with different organizations and raise that awareness for mental health, remove that stigma that we many times have in our head about it, and become a catalyst for positive change.
Yep. Wow. Okay, so such a very inspiring projects on the lineup. So if they want to follow you on Facebook,
you can find me on Facebook, Andreas Vogiatzakis. Very straightforward. I don't think anybody else has the same last name. Also on LinkedIn, Andreas M. Vogiatzakis. You can find me. I'm quite active on LinkedIn. And of course, if in any doubt, just go to amvplus.com and you'll find everything there. Don't forget to order your copy with ihub from the Inspiration Hub. And you can definitely easily find me on social media, contact me, WhatsApp me. All my contact information is in the public domain, and I will be very privileged to connect with each and every one of you.
Wow. All right. And thank you so much, Andreas, for coming to our show to do your sharing today. So, any last words before we end our show today?
To all of you out there who are watching this, have the courage at the crossroads. You'll come to it. Tell your story to the world. I'm pretty sure it is full of beautiful values, gems, and power to enrich the ones around you. And lastly, a huge thanks to Nikki and the Inspiration Hub. You've been partners, friends, advisors, invaluable in the journey to really bring this to the world, for which I'm very proud of, and I'm very thankful and grateful for your partnership. Thanks for watching. Find me on social media, connect with me. I will be privileged to connect back with you. Thank you.
Hi everybody, thank you for watching the Inspiration Hub show. If you're interested to get Andreas' Courage at the Crossroads book, you can visit our website at www.theinspirationhub.com, or you can also visit Andreas' website at amvplus.com. That's all for our show today. Stay tuned for more, and we will see you again. Bye bye.